inside the all-new House of Public Discourse Radio.com. The House is an area in social media where individuals can come together to discuss societal issues, and from that discussion influence political action. Welcome to the House,
where our house is your house.
Good evening, everybody. This is Johnny. Welcome to the Progressive Talk Zone inside the House of Public Discourse Forum right here on Facebook. I hope everyone had a great Christmas. For me and us, me and Sheila and Steve here around our house, we had a white Christmas, and for this Southern boy, I've had 3 white Christmases out of 5 since I've moved from the South. Houston, Texas, up here to the Motown Get Down, and I'm telling you, there is a big difference when you can experience a white Christmas. We got a lot to talk about tonight on the program, a lot to cover. It's really sad, folks, but I don't know how many of you out there have ever been on unemployment and been at the point where your unemployment benefits were about to run out. I have in my life. I have been in that situation twice. And I know from my own personal experience, it's a very traumatic situation. If you don't have a job lined up, or you don't have prospects lined up, or you don't have some kind of a hustle going on, to put food on the table, to pay the light bill, you're going to be in stress out mode. We're human beings, and you can't help but be in that mode with such an issue hanging over your head. And today, I'm talking not tomorrow or not 2 weeks from now, I'm talking right now. As we speak, millions of people will lose federal unemployment benefits on Saturday, which is today, as a result of the standoff between Congress and President Trump over the COVID-19 relief measure passed by the House and the Senate. 12 million people will lose the benefits through 2 programs set up under legislation earlier this year in the initial response to the coronavirus pandemic, according to an estimate by the Century Foundation. There are a lot of people in America getting ready to lose their source of income. The CBS Morning Report filed this report on the issue.
The $600 extra weekly unemployment benefits are officially ending today for millions of Americans. Lawmakers, though, are still struggling to find a way to keep them going. Another 1.4 million people filed for unemployment benefits last week, and this comes as the economy plunged nearly 33% at an annual rate in the second quarter. Nancy Cordes is on Capitol Hill with more on this story. Nancy, what is the latest on the deadlock there?
Well, the latest, Gail, is that leaders from both sides negotiated late into the night, trading offers, but they left without a deal. And so that $600 federal jobless benefit, it appears, will expire today. And that means that as many as 30 million Americans could see their unemployment checks drop 50 to 75%. Republicans and the White House are now pushing a short-term extension of the benefits for maybe a couple of weeks or a couple of months as they continue to negotiate the overall multi-trillion-dollar rescue package, which could include another round of those $1,200 stimulus checks. But Democrats say they're not doing this piecemeal, and they blame Republicans for waiting months to come to the negotiating table. White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows said last night that he is now pessimistic that the two sides will reach a deal before the Senate leaves for recess at the end of next week. And once they go, Jerika, they are not scheduled to return until September 8th.
Wow. So hopefully.
One program set to expire. And this is terrible stuff, folks. I mean, you know, there's a lot of people out there that have got some sweaty palms right about now. You know, one program. Hold on, we got someone. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, hello.
Hi, Johnny.
Yes, hey, Millicent.
Hey.
All right. Yeah, we're talking about this unemployment situation with all this stuff ending. You know.
Right, right.
You know, Millicent, do you have something going on in the background? I remember this from radio days. Yeah, if you could turn that down, I'd appreciate it. This reminds me of back in. Yeah.
Could you turn that down?
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
That reminds me back in the radio days when we used to have call in. You know what we used to do? We used to be playing music, and we would all say, "Well, the request line is open," and you know, people would call in. You know, I want to hear Al Green and Let's Stay Together, man. And they'd have our radio turned up, blasted in the back, and I mean, you know, we'd have to say, hey, turn it down. But hey, that's all that was. And I'm so excited you're here, Millicent. I'm really glad you're here.
Thank you.
We're talking about this unemployment situation, and you know, one of the programs set to expire provided benefits to gig workers and other people not eligible for traditional unemployment. And while another program set to expire provided 100% federal funding for benefits for people who, you know, are on long-term unemployment. And check this out, Millicent. This is what I'm getting at here. 7.3 million people who benefited from this gig worker program, which I wish Suzanne Murphy with Truth Bomb Activist was here, because she could explain what this gig program is all about. I do not know. Excuse me. And other workers not covered by regular unemployment will lose benefits today. They've probably already lost them. And I was just thinking, you know, I've been in this situation before, and it's a stress. It's got to be stressful, you know. What do you? You know.
What are people going to do?
That's like, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? You know, what's even more, you know, nearly 1 million more, Millicent, will lose the help before December ends, which is, a couple of more days.
That's right. It ends next Thursday. I mean, that's the last day.
I am interested to hear your take on this, because first of all, let me give a little background here. Got to. Millicent has been like one of the backbone persons for me in my, you know, when I get a little off track, or if I don't see things exactly, you know, she always brings a perspective to the House admin team that is so invaluable. And I really want to hear your take on this, because you know, most of us think this is political theater here, Millicent. But in a surprise, President Trump announced after the bill's passage, this latest non-stimulus bill, or whatever they want to call it, passed, that he opposed the measure.
Right.
And, you know, he criticized the direct payments included in the COVID-19 relief package as too stingy, arguing that the $600 payment should be raised to $2,000. I don't think anybody in their right mind would find much disagreement with that. I question motives here, and that's what I want to.
Right.
I want to get to that, and that's what I want to get your take on.
Hmm.
But we got a little, you know, let's. I tell you what, let's do. Let's hear what the man had to say about it.
Anyway, in a Twitter video last night, President Trump called the $900 billion COVID relief bill that was passed by Congress, and in his words, unsuitable disgrace. Urged lawmakers to make changes to the measure, including bigger direct payments and cutting some of the wasteful spending.
The bill they are now planning to send back to my desk is much different than anticipated. It really is a disgrace. I am asking Congress to amend this bill and increase the ridiculously low $600 to $2,000 or $4,000 for a couple. I'm also asking Congress to immediately get rid of the wasteful and unnecessary items from this legislation and to send me a suitable bill, or else the next administration will have to deliver a COVID relief package, and maybe that administration will be me.
Oh, boy. House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer said Democrats will see if they...
Can you believe that?
No.
This man still, good God. I mean, how, okay, I'm asking you because you have education in this matter. What kind of, to me, Millicent, now, am I off base here? To me, is that not a clear example of someone that's in complete denial and narcissism to a certain degree? I don't know.
Did he have the impression this was a dictatorship?
Obviously. He must have. And you know what's so sad? And once again, correct me if I'm off base here, but I'm seeing, 70-some million people voted for that?
Unbelievable. And, he should never be able to run for any kind of elective office, ever.
Well,
he did with governors, people in Congress, people in the Senate, trying to get them to overturn the election, that's kind of tantamount to treason to me.
Sedition.
Yeah.
Most Republicans in Congress had opposed the higher payments, and the Treasury Secretary, this Steven Mnuchin guy, negotiating for Trump, had signed off on the measure with the 600 direct payments. So Trump, okay, here's I'll make this analogy. I see coming from one side of Trump's mouth, give him $2,000. But then in practical and in activity and actual action, his man signed off on the $600 payments. Why did he sign off on them?
Right. He just wants to be disruptive. That's all. Muddy the waters and, sacrifice the American people in the process. He doesn't care about the people. He vetoed the defense bill as well.
I know. That later you came at such a. I'm so glad you're here. Because I wanted, when we get done with this part of the conversation, I wanted to transgress or progress or transcend into. I'm very cynical here. I just don't see a lot of rich people like Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump and some of these people going to jail. We got all these high people with all this money in their hands. I just don't see them going to jail, even though, what are the prospects of Donald Trump being prosecuted for his crimes after the presidency?
I think he's increasing them every day. I really do.
Yeah, we're getting to that, and I can't wait till we get to that part. But okay. Millicent, the government is set to shut down on Tuesday unless Trump signs the package or Congress approves another measure before Tuesday that keeps the government operations funded. And this is not my strong suit, economics. But we hear these kind of threats all the time, where they
It's like
almost,
every year, right? Every year.
I mean, they bounce off me like a 75 mortar shell on a Tiger German tank. I mean, it just doesn't penetrate me when they threaten to stop operations. I mean, that doesn't seem like a threat to me. Maybe it should be, but it's possible he could veto the package or do nothing, which would result in the unemployment benefits expiring. And I don't know. What is your take? Do you think he's gonna sign? He's gonna veto the stimulus bill or do nothing? What's going on there?
You mean veto? He already vetoed it, didn't he?
That's what I'm saying. He vetoed it. And hold on, let me. He also the president could sign the package despite the criticism of it. So I'm not sure. I haven't heard that he actually vetoed the stimulus bill. I knew he had spoken out against it.
I think well,
And like I said, go ahead.
if he doesn't sign it, then they won't get the benefits of the final week of December, right?
I think it's something like that. Well, at noon on January 20, on January 20th, that's presuming, that he doesn't have to be dragged out of the White House as a trespasser. Donald Trump will make one last walk across the South Lawn, take his seat inside Marine One, and I think you and I and everybody in the world is going to be breathing a sigh of relief.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. that he's going to be, a history lesson.
Right.
And that leads us in, from that moment, Millicent, this is where my research is. And I was just thinking about this today. This man, if it was me or you or anybody else, would be arrested for the things that he has done.
Yeah, the eviction protection would be gone. Rental assistance gone.
Yes, we talked about that this past weekend.
So it's more than that,
there's so many issues. You're absolutely correct. Yeah, we were talking about the cancel rent movement. One of our valued House Public Discourse Forum members, Mary Schaffler, did some really good, solid work on the cancel rent movement. And, there's this growing cry for a general strike, period.
But that won't affect Trump, though, right? I mean, he
don't care. No, you're right. For the moment, Trump's rambunctious term as president of the United States will be over. But the one important aspect, Millicent, and this is the issue that that was rolling around in my mind all day, and that's, I guess, why we're talking about it here in the forum tonight. Is we hope you're here, as we've got some few people watching, and I've got Millicent Bolden here with me. The challenge presented by this presidency is really only just begun, Millicent, in my view. The possibility that he will face prosecution for crimes committed before he took office, and some say while in office.
Mm-hmm.
We've never had a president before who has invited so much scrutiny. This guy here, I have a picture of him sitting with Mr. Obama. You see that, Bob Bauer?
Okay, yes.
Yeah, we've never had a president before, said Bob Bauer, White House counsel under Barack Obama. This has been a very eventful presidency that raises hard questions about, and what the question is: are the presidents, are they again, what happens to when he leaves office, and are they above the law?
It's not supposed to be. I mean, he's done things that would make Nixon blush.
That's exactly right. You got
And I
that
don't
right.
see anybody saying anything about it. Well, you hear a little bit, but on the news, commentators, but I guess
Yeah.
they're just also afraid of him in the Senate.
Well, just like you mentioned before, for the past 4 years, Trump has been shielded from from legal jeopardy by a Justice Department memo that rules out criminal prosecution for a sitting president. So, he got that
Hmm.
go free out of jail card. If we were playing
Hmm.
Monopoly on
Yeah, but he
that one.
won't have it anymore.
Yes, and let me tell you, something. I don't know if you remember this, but way back, way back, when Trump and all this stuff, when he started running for president, re-election and everything, we were all saying in the House that these RICO laws that he's facing, the Manhattan District Attorney Cyrus Vance is
Hmm.
actively investigating Trump's business dealings. Uh,
Oh.
and the focus described in court documents is extensive and protracted criminal conduct. We have a report that was filed on that, and we'll play that now.
Kayla, the Supreme Court has decided in one of the two pending cases against the President of the United States and in favor of the Manhattan District Attorney Cyrus Vance, who was seeking financial documents regarding the President's business and personal financial empire. The Supreme Court just deciding within the past couple of seconds, ruling for the New York grand jury over its bid to obtain the President's financial records, including those tax records. Now, this means that at some point, the outside auditors and banks will be required to turn over those documents to the grand jury. But because of grand jury secrecy rules, the scope of that investigation may not become public anytime soon, Kayla. The grand jury will be expected to keep all of that secret. The tax returns, financial documents, and everything else that they are able to obtain now as a result of the Supreme Court ruling will go into the investigative process, and the public will only see those at some point in the future if there is an indictment or some kind of criminal proceeding. The president had argued this was simply presidential harassment and that local district attorneys should not be able to subpoena these kinds of records from a president while he was in office. They had suggested the president was entitled to a temporary immunity during his term in office. The Supreme Court, Kayla, though, disagreeing and siding with the Manhattan District Attorney this morning. We're waiting on one other verdict here. This will be on the issue of House committees who also subpoenaed financial documents. The Supreme Court expected to issue that ruling here in a couple of minutes. That one will have potentially more implications for the public debate because, as we know, documents that go to Capitol Hill tend to leak to the press. Documents that go to grand juries tend not to. Kayla, back over to you.
I would be really shocked if he ever spends one day in jail.
I don't know.
But I like I put it that way because, like you made the point so pointedly, the evidence is mounting. Now that report was filed back months ago, but it does raise the question about the bank fraud issues, and the focus described in court documents is extensive, and it's all about bank fraud. And a second major investigation by the federal prosecutors are, Michael Cohen went to jail,
Mm-hmm.
and some of that stuff that didn't come out is going to come out. What's your take on that? What do Cohen pleaded guilty,
Right.
to the campaign finance violations and relating to the hush money from
Well,
this girl, Trump and this girl here.
oh yeah.
He had to pay her off.
So, he didn't pardon Cohen, right? I mean,
No,
Cohen is,
Cohen, he didn't pardon Cohen. He pardoned everybody else. He pardoned all them Blackwater killers.
mm-hmm,
He pardoned the Manafort guy.
mm-hmm. Kushner's father,
Yeah.
his son-in-law's father, and yeah, Roger Stone, and it just
The
a
bottom
notorious
line,
list.
the bottom line with that is they're saying, and this is where your point. This goes to your point, Millicent. is that charges could be revisited once Trump's effective immunity is lifted.
That's right. That's right. And he just keeps making things work. He called the Supreme Court incompetent because
Right.
they wouldn't overturn the election. I mean, the whole issue to me is you're advocating for overturning the election. That's got to be an issue that has consequences.
Yes, it sure does.
Overtly, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. And what scares me, and what you know, is that so many of his supporters think that's okay.
That is frightening. They're all for fascism, clearly.
We've talked many times about this. You know, about the fascism and racism and these type of issues, and how they are the underlying problems of so much that goes on in our country today.
Yes.
Oh,
That's,
and I think this is I think, there's just no doubt that, this is an example of that.
it is.
I, this is kind of leading me into an article I wrote, Millicent, back years ago.
Okay.
Americans' flight from reason. What has America's flight from reason cost us as a nation?
Oh, yes.
Does any political candidate out there, right or left, Millicent, have the intestinal fortitude to talk about the ignorances as ignorance, period, as a political issue? I mean, I think it's a political issue.
It is, but then I guess people would feel attacked, but it's the truth. It's the truth. I mean,
Well, I guess the word ignorance has been demonized so bad. When you say I'm ignorant about so much things,
I guess you'd have to say it, but another way. But
you'd have to use another word, probably. Absolutely, absolutely, because ignorance doesn't mean you're stupid.
Well, it's almost like a refusal to accept reality.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they issues range from scientific research on global warming to the issues of war and peace. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and, in this ever-growing age of unreason, people seem to be focused on small personal facts as opposed to big issues, in my view. In a lot of cases, but even more than that, lack of knowledge and unreason affects the way candidates speak about everything. I mean, I wrote this, and I wrote this in 2017, and one of the reasons I wrote this is because I was wrestling around how could anyone be doped and duped by Donald Trump and this whole right, Christian right, radical right ideology.
Well,
and how
he's
is
pumped
that?
them up. He's pumped them up by creating enemies and making them feel good. You are not those people. We are the true Americans. We are the true patriots. Those people are a problem. So he's boosted their, I guess, their frail self-identity
Right.
with all of this.
Yeah. A good example is the healthcare situation in this country. It's a very important issue. Could you agree on that, Millicent?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And all the candidates say it is, really they all do, but in different ways, of course. But if people are not knowledgeable about how healthcare is handled in other countries, how they say, well, Canada. Every time I hear someone, I live up close to Canada now,
Right.
and I happen to have got some wonderful friends in the forum from Canada who are under. They wouldn't trade their health care for ours. They love their health care. It's universal health care there.
Mm-hmm.
and if you all you hear in the American press from big pharma and those is a media campaign that says, oh, they have these enormous wait times.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have enormous wait times that they're talking about for major issues. Yes, they do prioritize some things, I think, in their. But you know what? That's true in our for-profit system as well.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's hard to see a doctor now.
You daggone
With,
right
with
it
COVID,
is.
it's very hard, very hard. So that's going to impact a lot of people in terms of health maintenance, things that they were unable to get taken care of because of COVID.
Right.
And not for their lack of trying, but they say, oh, well, we can give you a virtual appointment. That's not going to cut it.
Yeah. Well, one of the reasons, and we have talked about this, me and you, I know several times, that how can people have a reasonable discussion about how things ought to be if they have no real knowledge of the facts, and getting the facts, the real facts, the true facts from mainstream media, we've got a lot. Would you agree or disagree that we live in a very misinformed society, even though we live in the information age?
We do. We really do.
I
We
think
really
we
do.
do.
Although I think some networks are better than others, but still, we're getting us skewed.
Right. And that's why we're here right now on our Saturday night, taking just a few moments. I can't tell you how humbled I am that you're here, Millicent. Our political culture reflects our general culture in many ways. Our political culture is shaped by our general culture. Our research here in the House of Public Discourse has led us to conclude that what America really needs is an educator-in-chief than a commander-in-chief.
Mm-hmm.
And what we've had lately is Betsy DeVos.
Oh, no. Yeah. With no degree in education, no teaching experience.
None. All she's got is what's the story? But I did some.
Was she Amway or something
Yeah,
like
she's
that?
Amway. I do know this. I do know that Betsy DeVos is part of a shadow network of radical right groups, Heritage Foundation,
Okay.
Turning Point USA, all of those people. And, how she got, it's just amazing. There's no quick dose of change in today's culture. Our politicians of today, including Obama, have failed miserably in educating the people before such changes are proposed. A cognitive dissonance is alive and well in America, and critical thinking is a loss.
Yes.
Yeah. I think we see it more and more, don't you?
I do. I think once Trump is gone, though, that will help some. I'm sure he'll find some other outlet to reach, his minions.
Right.
But it won't have the presidential seal,
Right.
which I think will deflate it somewhat.
I tell you what my research is finding, though, Miss Millicent, is that we haven't seen the last of the Trump prototype in the Republican Party.
Well, maybe not, but I think a lot of Republicans, they won't say it, but they want to be shed of Trump.
I agree. I'm talking about that element in the there's going to be an element coming from the right Republican Party that panders to the KKK, the far right, the racists, the Proud Boys, the anti-government, let's go play Army in the Woods crowd.
But I think they would be very loath to let anyone else like that get in a position of power.
True.
And that's a good thing. Not that I particularly like them, but they have to stop that. That has to be stopped.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, why many Americans, our research found that, many Americans can't stand or tolerate contradictory opinions. This is part and why our country's population is becoming dumber by the day. When one creates a vacuum for themselves and shuts off evidence, facts, or contradictions from their minds, the less informed they become about the issues. And studies have shown that people's attention spans in general have grown shorter and shorter over the years. Time magazine, I don't know how in the hell they figured this out, Millicent, said that people have shorter attention spans than a goldfish. Well, how in the hell did they figure that out? I want to know. You know, it's like, Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know. Yeah, me and you, we've talked about issues, you know, about especially during, you know, the Black Lives Matter issue.
Right, right.
And me and you are the best of friends, and we agree. You know, we agree just about on everything. But you know, even in that situation, there's different. You know, there's different ways you can look at things.
Mm-hmm.
But a great example, you know, of how American citizens are controlled by their own cognitive dissonance is the outcry from these Christian right people and their orderly followers. Like, for example, this is just one example, and I really want to get your you know, creatism, you know, taught in public schools, ignoring the details of science and empirical evidence of evolution.
Right.
It's just one example.
Right.
You know, I guess what we're getting at here, and then, you know, I guess what I'm getting at here, Millicent, is that, you know, there's a huge failure of education in America.
Oh, it
and,
is.
and it's getting worse by the day. You know, Betty DeVos ring a bell. You know, you know. Therefore, you know, as we've always we support free college education for all in America, no matter the cost.
Right.
Because you know, America's flight for reason is being fueled and exploited by those who not only prey on the uneducated, but they depend on them.
Mm-hmm. They do.
And you've made this point even on this broadcast, but you've made it to me many times in our conversation. I think Donald Trump is a shining example of that.
Mm-hmm. He is. He just needs to go home.
Yeah, that's all I got for tonight. He needs to go home. He needs to go home, and I want to thank you for coming on the program tonight.
Well, just want to mention one little thing. You know, Pat Robertson said,
"Oh yeah,
he needs to face reality."
Oh, I was shocked when I heard that.
Yes, I was like, "What?"
Pat Robertson.
He said
that guy. He's woo, you know he's getting low now. You know it's getting low.
Yeah. He says more and more unstable every day. Or something to that effect.
Right. And I think moving forward, you know, is that we got to keep our eye on the ball. We got a new guy coming to the presidency, and we know full well, you know, what we got coming.
Yeah, but it's better than what we had. So.
It's better than what we had, and I think it's I've had to do some adjusting of my thinking as well. And I will say this: I think we stand a lot better chance of getting our progressive values and programs with Biden administration than we would a Trump administration.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
And I know there's people out there, you know, nobody's ringing Joe Biden's bell here. We know what Joe Biden's issues are, you know, full well.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But it is what it is. Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on the program, Millicent.
Thank you, Johnny.
And we got to do this again.
Okay. Looking forward to it.
Have a good one.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Yes, we want to thank everybody for hanging out with us. We just, you know, there's just a lot going on in this world today, and there's a lot of things that we need to keep. And we want to thank you once again for joining the Progressive Talk Zone with your host, Johnny Hill, from the all-new House of Public Discourse Radio.com. Good night, everybody.